Tonight on Bands Reunited.
Pure energy.
Information Society. In the mid-'80s, the techno-pop band was a world-renowned dance club sensation, but clashing personalities.
We had long, bitter fights.
We literally came to blows on stage.
And a mysterious departure.
She just kind of left.
It's up to Amanda to talk about it, or no one.
Ripped the group apart.
The best thing I ever did was quit the band.
Tonight, Information Society.
Hi, Doggy. Hey, Doggy.
We're going to travel the country, find these band members wherever they may be.
With whom did you clear this?
I would. I'm just kind of busy at the moment.
And invite them to a one-time only special performance.
I think it's a bad...
In 1983, three high school friends from Minneapolis, Paul Robb, Jim Cassidy, and Kurt Harland, formed Information Society.
I was a band nerd in high school. Kurt, of course, was a choir and theater nerd. Jim was what we used to affectionately know as a burnout.
With the addition of Amanda Kramer, the group was off and running. Performance art, hip-hop beats, and innovative sampling gave the band a rabid following.
We were channeling something that we did not understand.
But soon after they topped the charts, Amanda Kramer made a sudden departure.
That's the only item of dirt I won't come clean.
I don't want to go there.
Founder Paul Robb and singer Kurt Harland continued to butt heads.
He described the band years as the worst years of his life.
Paul and I were in a kind of permanent power struggle.
Until they walked away from each other in 1993. It's been almost 2 decades since these 4 musicians shared the stage. Can we bring them back together for one last night of pure energy?
I think you should consider yourself challenged.
We begin our mission to reunite Information Society in the Great Northwest. Welcome to Oregon. We're 2 hours outside of Portland on our way to Oregon State University, where we're looking for Jim Cassidy, the bass player with Information Society. He now works in the Department of Crop and Soil Science. Now, I'm not sure what that means, but I am sure that I need him to say yes in order for this reunion to happen. So we're on our way to a meeting of the Organic Growers Club. We're gonna go down this little pathway. They're probably gonna see us coming. There they are over there. We're gonna try to be discreet. Oh, dogs! My favorite. Hi, dogs. We mean no harm.
This is my home, this is my home. We don't like no strangers.
Hi, we're looking for Jim Cassidy. My name's Aamer. What's your name?
Nick.
Hi, Nick. Does he usually drive up here?
Yeah,
Or how does he get
actually,
here?
that's his truck right there.
Hi. Jim Cassidy?
That's correct.
Music professor.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, yourself?
Very good.
I'm from VH1.
Oh, wow.
And we're here on a very important mission, my friend, to reunite you with your former bandmates, Information Society.
I think I got the wrong Jimmy Cassidy.
No, it's gotta be you. Come on, look at you. Look at that. You haven't changed a bit. So,
Oh, boy.
I know you've got a meeting with the Organic Growers Club.
I do. I've got to harvest basil tonight.
Yeah.
We're going to be cleaning garlic. I mean, there's lots of work to do here.
As you can see, I have plenty of people to help out.
Right.
And in exchange for that help, would you agree to participating in a one-night-only special performance with your former bandmates in Information Society? We'll climb any mountain, cross any field.
Will you help me harvest basil tonight?
I will help you harvest basil if you say yes.
Well,
I'll help you harvest basil. I'll have these guys roll up their sleeves.
right.
You're in? He's in! Okay. We need your autograph. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Cassidy's in.
Pure energy.
First, why don't you just take me on a little tour here of the organic?
Yeah, we are the OSU Organic Growers Club.
Right.
This is an all-volunteer student-run organization that I've been working with for 4 years.
How did you arrive upon this particular area of field study? Yeah.
It's very weird. I mean, it's about as far away from Information Society as you can get,
Yeah.
is soil science.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I kind of became more aware ecologically about the state of our planet and issues like that. I just love teaching now. You know, walking in front of 89 students and putting on a little show is pretty easy for me. thing about information studies, when we joined, one of the requirements was that we were going to abandon our past. And we had to shave our heads to join the band. I mean, it was a real indoctrination. We call it the old days.
Right.
And the old days for me were the most fun because they were totally creative. And we'd decide, oh, this time let's wrap in black plastic and crawl out like amoebas, you know, and hand out pixie sticks in between sets. I mean, the band is really a product of Paul. He wrote most of the tunes, and Kurt, you know, is the lead singer. And I was kind of the facilitator.
Or should I just say we're Information Society?
You start, Kurt's second, I'm third, then you take it.
Okay.
So why was there so much tension between Paul and Kurt?
Paul had a very strong vision, and I think Kurt wanted to have a strong vision, but probably wasn't as strong as Paul, so he had to accommodate Paul's visions, and that was something he didn't really want to do. His target audience was different than the one we got, where I think Kurt wanted girls in black, and we're playing for screaming Brazilians, you know.
Why do you think your music resonated with the Brazilians? What was it about it?
We've always had this strange affiliation with Latin cultures. I mean, our first underground hip-hop song, it's called Running, it's on the first record, for some reason worked with a Latin audience.
So what about Amanda Kramer? You were responsible for her joining the group, correct? Yes. You went to Boston, and that's where the two of you met?
Yep, it was in the Boston Museum School of Fine Arts, and it's an old painting school. And she was from New York. Right. And she had a nice Roland keyboard. And one of the ways you get into the band is by having a good piece of equipment.
To take a young lady of that background from Boston and convince her to go to Minneapolis after warning her about your two friends.
She was looking for something. She wanted to change. She was struggling in art school, really. Nothing was happening for her, and she was trying to stay out of music business a little bit because it hadn't been very good for her.
Let's talk about your first video, Pure Energy.
That was a great, I mean, it was a really, I think it was like a #2 video or something. Yeah. But it worked. That's exactly what we wanted to do. And, but instantly, it was like another world. All of a sudden, we were playing rock clubs and stuff like that.
Why did things start to fall apart then?
For me, I mean, aside from the fact that Paul was going to quit, which was the real reason it broke up, I realized I had kind of achieved the dreams of a 17-year-old.
Right.
But, you know, there was more to life than playing bass in a disco band.
If you could just give us any guidance possible in tracking down your former bandmates. Let's start with Amanda.
Amanda, I don't know. Kurt would know. Don't know what Amanda's all about these days, so it'll be very interesting to see how all I have to say is good luck. And Paul, he's in L.A.
When was the last time you guys were in the same room together, the four of you?
Oh, I don't know. Long time ago.
Jim Cassidy's on board. Next on our list is band leader Paul Robb. Let's hope that what's on his mind is an Information Society reunion. We resume our mission to reunite Information Society in Southern California. We're in Burbank, California, in pursuit of Paul Robb from Information Society. We're going to a post-production facility called Match Frame, and Paul is coming in for a meeting. He thinks it's an interview to compose music for a new reality TV show, but the interviewer is actually one of our producers. We're going to crash that meeting and invite him to a special one-night-only performance with his former bandmates.
Them on an independent film.
Hi, Paul Robb? Yes. My name's Aamer. I'm with a show called Bands Reunited. And we're here.
This really is reality television.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is indeed. We're here to ask you if you're willing to participate in a one-time-only special performance and reunion with your former bandmates in Information Society.
Oh my God. Absolutely, of course.
He's in! That is the right answer, my friend. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
It's me.
That's him. That's Paul Robb. He is on board. Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Paul was definitely the guy who wrote this material and kind of had the larger vision for the group.
Let's talk about what you're doing these days.
Well, I've ended up doing a lot of music for MTV shows like The Real World and Road Rules and sports specials and all that. Did a couple of films, worked with Trey and Matt from South Park on The Wonderful Orgasmo.
The first meeting for Info Society, I think, took place in a dorm room at McAllister College.
I wanted to start a band after we graduated from high school, and the only person I knew who could sing was my friend Kurt. Because he was in choir, you see, and if you're in choir in high school, obviously you've got what it takes to be a rock and roll singer, right?
How did Jim join the group?
Jim started out as a fan, graduated to a hanger-on, then became our light man, was invited on stage one night to do a banjo solo, which of course fits right in with the Information Society aesthetic. And after that, he just started hanging around with us so much, and we liked him so much, we said, you should come in, you know, be in the band. And, you know, it turned out to be a very valuable addition to the group, actually. Probably saved, we probably would have broken up sooner had it not been for Jim.
Working with those guys was a lot like managing my parents' dysfunctional relationship.
And the other reason he was a valuable member of the band is because he brought another valuable member of the band into the fore, like Amanda.
That's true. When Jim came back with Amanda, it was the four of us from that point on.
What was it like on the road with these guys? Like,
Kurt secluded himself as lead singers are apt to do in these types of stories, because, as you know, offstage things were falling apart. I don't think Kurt enjoyed being on the road as much as the rest of us. And let's face it, Kurt had the bulk of the work to do on stage.
And how would you describe him?
He was very conflicted because on the one hand, he was the rock star. And none of us were rock stars. Kurt could have been a real rock star, you know. He was a star. He was the star of the show, for sure. But he didn't really want to be. That's the problem. He always wanted to be, you know, like a producer or someone working behind the scenes. But he was naturally charismatic, you know. He had charisma that all the rest of us lacked, and that's what, you know, that was what we needed.
What about the relationship with you and Kurt? Would you describe it as a sibling rivalry?
Kurt and I are both blowhards and know-it-alls, and we both want to control everything in our lives. I tried to kick Kurt out, actually, after we got signed to Tommy Boy. And the label said, no, you're not going to do that.
Why did you want to kick him out?
Oh, because we were fighting about something. I don't know. That's when I realized I wasn't in complete control of the band anymore, when I tried to kick someone out and I wasn't allowed to do it.
How did Amanda announce her departure? How did you guys find out that she wanted to leave?
She didn't really announce it. She just kind of left.
Not a phone call or a meeting or anything like that to say that she was leaving?
I'm going to let her explain it. Okay. Because I don't want to explain it in a way that would make her mad.
Okay.
So if you actually locate her and get her to do it, I'll be interested to hear what she has to say. Let's put it that way.
What told you ultimately that it was time to go?
There was a famous meeting that we had called the Black Day of Death, where I tried to lay down the law, and I formulated my famous 3 principles of the music business. It's easy, it's fun, and you make a lot of money. And I said, if any one of those 3 factors isn't present, I'm quitting. And really, you know, that's what happened.
Who do you think is going to be the toughest for me to convince?
I can't even begin to predict what Kurt's going to say.
Really?
Yeah. He described the band years as the worst years of his life.
Paul agreed to the reunion, but refused to shed any light on Amanda's departure. He did inform us of Kurt's whereabouts, but made it clear that Kurt will be a tough. Next, we head up north to San Francisco, where Information Society lead singer Kurt Harlan works for a video game company. Kurt is a sound designer at Crystal Dynamics. To make sure we get past security, we send a production assistant ahead of our crew.
She's going to go across the bridge into Crystal Dynamics, penetrate the door, and wait in the lobby for us.
I'm sorry, she's going to penetrate the door.
Yeah.
Okay, we already have people looking. We have a problem. Oh my gosh, it's locked. Okay.
Straight through the lobby.
Right.
You're going to turn right, make your way to the back of the building. That's his office.
Hi, Kurt Harlan.
Hey.
Hi, my name's Aamer.
Hello, Aamer.
How are you, sir?
Pure energy.
Oh, by the way, I'm from VH1, and these are my friends. We're with a show called Bands Reunited, and we've been sent on a mission. That mission is to reunite the members of this fine band, Information Society.
My skepticism grows. I don't believe you have Paul Robb here because he wouldn't do this.
Okay, well, let me explain. We're gonna get you guys in the same room.
I hope you don't. I don't want to see Paul. I need my penguin.
Bring the penguin, and then the next night, get you on stage for a one-time only special performance in front of your fans. So are you in?
I don't know. Do I have to commit to actually being in the same room with Jim Cassidy again?
Yeah.
Madness.
Are you in?
What am I doing?
You are getting back together with Information Society.
And I have to perform songs?
Yes!
Do I get time off work?
Yes!
Am I paid for it?
What were the other questions? You're in?
No.
Well, you're in. I need to hear it.
Do I have to sing Running?
You can sing whatever you want.
I'm gonna do some Van Halen cover.
Are you in?
Yeah, okay.
He's in! Ladies and gentlemen, Kurt Harlan is in.
Yeah!
Kurt did what none of the rest of us could. Kurt was the star, and there's no question about that.
And what happens here at Crystal Dynamics?
Crystal Dynamics is a company that makes video games, so I do sound effects and music for any and all of the games that come through the company.
What were you guys thinking when you wanted to put a group together? Was it more of a musical act, a performance act, a hybrid of the two?
There was much more than just wanting to record some music. We wanted to be intellectual, semi-pop sounding experimental electronic music, which in 1982 in Minneapolis was pretty unusual.
How did you become the lead singer?
Yeah, I didn't want to be. I was the only one who could sing worth a damn. And I wasn't very good, even then. Paul and Jim didn't want to try to do that. So they kind of made me do it.
What about the recording of this album, the first album? What was that process like?
Tommy Boy, they really liked the single that they picked up from us, Running. And they said, okay, now make an album. And we finished that in late '87. It was supposed to come out right then. And then the sampling issue hit.
So for years before our album came out, I was sampling Star Trek and other shows.
That was the very early days of sampling. It was no legal precedence for what you do when you sample people like Leonard Nimoy.
We never dreamed that putting recordings of Star Trek could ever matter because we're just this group of dorks from Minneapolis doing music.
In retrospect, it turned out to be a good thing because it was a hook that we could, hang the whole thing on.
What was that like to make videos, especially at a time when it was,
It was uncomfortable for me.
Really?
They were new experiences for us, and I found it to be a very tense situation when you have 10, 20, 30, 40 people worried about everything happening right, and it was tense.
Describe your shows. What were they like, whether it was in a club or in a big stadium?
I don't know. We never did the type of show I wanted to put on, not since the early days in Minneapolis. Paul and I had a lot of trouble figuring out and agreeing on what kind of show to do. We just did the best we could.
Things kept happening to us to push us more pop, more pop, more pop. And eventually, Kurt couldn't take it anymore.
Is that safe to say that you shared power?
No. Paul and I were in a kind of permanent power struggle with each other. And the older we got, the more mature we were, the better we got at being able to just try to get stuff done instead of argue about whether we're going to do it his way or my way. Jim would tend to kind of wait for us to stop fighting so we could just get some work done, for which I always respected him.
Now, the other interesting dynamic to the band was that you and Amanda had a relationship for a while, did you not?
Mm-hmm.
And how did that affect the structure of the band, decisions being made? Did it factor in it at all, or?
There was always the temptation to make comments that, well, you just said that because she's your girlfriend, which would the next day be, you just disagree with her because she's your girlfriend. And
Amanda was, I think, the first to leave the incarnation of the band that we're putting back together again, the band that recorded the first album. Tell me your side of that and how that came about.
Anything I could tell you about that would be from my personal life, and I'm not willing to make that crossover.
Even the way in which the decision came about?
Even that. The whole thing has too much personal resonance for me, and also I have no way of knowing how much and in what way anything was divulged by anyone else, and I don't want to go there.
Jim nor Paul got into that. They were like you.
They probably feel the same way. If anyone's going to say anything, it's up to Amanda to talk about it, or no one.
Right.
And if she did, then you're done.
Okay, fair enough.
A little too sensitive for me.
I understand.
By the time you got to recording Peace and Love Incorporated...
Welcome to Peace and Love Incorporated.
What was the subsequent tour for that album like?
So that tour was mostly about us continuing to play shows and thinking about whether we wanted to do it anymore. And Paul decided he didn't want to.
And what about the status of Jim?
Oh, well, if Paul was done, Jim was done.
Really?
Yeah.
And you decided to carry on with the name and...
Yeah.
Did they wind up selling their portion of the name or their rights to the name to you? Is that what happened? Information Society?
We just wrote up a little agreement that said I get the rights to the name, which they give up in return for a percentage of any money I might make using the name.
If you could just tell me where these people might be to help us with our mission, it would be very helpful. Do you know where we can find Amanda?
Last I heard, she was living 6 months out of the year in Connecticut and 6 months in London, but I think that changed to 12 months in London.
What do you think? What are your thoughts going into the reunion and the concert?
I think it's a bad idea.
Why?
I just think it's going to be very unconvincing for everyone involved.
So there's still some drama left in this little show of ours.
Kurt's in, but not convinced. Now we must find the elusive Amanda Kramer.
All right, smiles, everyone.
Our quest to reunite Information Society continues in the hills outside the City of Angels.
We're in the parking lot of a venue called the Canyon Club in Agora Hills. Inside, Amanda Kramer is rehearsing for a gig tonight.
Amanda's performing with the Psychedelic Birds tonight. They have a sound check this afternoon. We're gonna ambush her right after sound check. And we're not leaving till we get her.
We've just spotted Amanda Kramer. She's gone into this coffee shop. Okay, great, thank you. Let's go.
Whoa.
Let's go now. When she's inside?
Going now.
She's inside. Amanda Kramer?
Yeah.
Hi. My name's Aamer, and I'm from a show called Bands Reunited on VH1. And we're here on a very special mission, actually.
Oh, dear.
Yes. We're traveling far and wide to gather the members of this band.
Oh, my God.
Indeed. And what we're doing is we're going up to them one at a time and inviting to a special one-night-only reunion and performance. So I'm here to ask you in person if you'd like to participate in this reunion.
Oh, my. Well, I mean, I would. I'm just kind of busy at the moment.
Oh, well, we'll work around your schedule. Yeah. If we can...
Yeah.
You're in?
I'd be interested.
She's interested! That's excellent. Now, what we ask all the people to do who've signed on board is to literally sign on board. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Kramer's on board. Yeah! Welcome aboard.
Amanda's role in the band was like a den mother, even outside the band. Sort of the dysfunctional New York, bitter den mother.
Now, before we talk about your days with Info Society, let's talk a little bit about what you're doing today. You're about to celebrate an anniversary.
Well, the 2 years with the Furs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, it's great, actually, because they were one of my favorite bands when I was, in my early 20s. So it was quite a thrill to get the call.
In your time with Information Society, I find it a very interesting story about this band because it has so many chapters. Tell me about that meeting with Jim Cassidy in Boston.
Yes, well, Jim and I were attending the same art school, the Museum School for Fine Arts, and we just became, friends, and we were working on, like, video projects together or something. And then just asked me if I wanted to do a 2-month summer tour because they had this song called Running that was on Tommy Boy, had been picked up by Tommy Boy Records, and got to number 10 on the dance charts that year.
So we thought it was really cool that we had this group that was melding the hip-hop sensibility with great pop melodies.
I mean, it was a real sociological experience because it was, for 4 geeky white kids to be allowed in these places. We were literally the only white people within miles. They were really probably the best audiences I've ever played to.
There must have been something to it, that your particular sound in that band.
Well, that was Paul. I really do think that's all Paul Robb's, that his forte, his genius, so to speak. It was, you know, the rhythm section, the drum and bass. And for some reason, he had tapped into this, you know, wave that was just actually kind of up and coming.
In high school, I was what is affectionately known as a band nerd. Because I was in band, I was in jazz band and stage band and all that kind of stuff. And that was the most important thing to me in high school.
He was a pretty good band leader. You know, he had a lot of vision. It really was his baby. Jim was Paul's right-hand man, really. You know, I don't think that Paul could have done it kind of without Jim in a way. Yeah, they weren't that keen on hanging out with Kurt sometimes.
Why is that?
Oh, Kurt, he was kind of eccentric on the road. He wore a doctor's coat for about a couple of years. I remember there was like a few years he wouldn't get off roller skates.
Did that create friction between the two of them?
I think so, yeah, probably.
The roller skates were a bone of contention. And of course, the more we hated it, the more he loved it.
Now, were you and Kurt together for a while as well?
Yes, we were.
How did that work in the band dynamic?
Not fantastically. You know, I kind of learned my lesson. But we were spending so much time together. Kind of like a cute young couple for a little while.
Right. So I guess you would hear his side of the Kurt.
It's so embarrassing.
Oh, no, come on now. It's all for the greater good, and that is setting the record straight. The reason I ask is I'm sure you heard a lot of Kurt's take on whatever friction or opposition that he and Paul would experience, you know?
Yes, but you know, I kind of just tried to stay out of it, really, because it's like they had known each other so long already.
What started to get you thinking of other projects, of moving on? Why did you decide to eventually leave?
Well, you could hear a lot of 4 different versions of this, I'm sure.
I don't want to explain it in a way that would make her mad.
If anyone's going to say anything, it's up to Amanda to talk about it, or no one.
Complicated, very complicated, and hurtful.
Yeah, I was a very naughty girl when I was younger, and basically they decided to kick me out because I was a heroin addict. So at the very end, they were all very upset about it. It's something I kind of kept secret for them for a long time.
Was this addiction something that came about when you joined the band, or?
No.
It was well before.
Oh, yeah. No, it had been going on for years. It did start to interfere with the band towards the end.
How so?
Well, I mean, just, you know, just ridiculous junky things like, you know, I'd have bundles sent to the hotels every day, or carrying syringes through metal detectors at airports, you know, because I was strung out and I had to have it just to, you know, maintain. And I would go through phases where I'd run out on the road as well and be going through withdrawal and that sort of thing, which is not pleasant for anyone. I just went into treatment and they voted me out of the band, basically. At the time, of course, I was very angry about it, and you know, thought it was terribly unfair, and you know, they should all have their heads examined. But in a way, I'm very grateful. It was, you know, it saved my life, and you know, that was kind of the end of that sort of phase of you know, my childhood.
When did you next make contact with the individual members after you emerged from rehabilitation?
Well, Kurt and I stayed in touch for a while, and to be honest with you, I haven't talked to Paul or Jim since then.
Oh, okay.
So it's been 16 years.
Wow. This will be an extra special reunion then.
But perhaps a closing of a circle.
The mystery of Amanda Kramer's departure is solved. Her heroin addiction forced her out of the group. Now, after 16 years, she's finally ready to face her bandmates and reunite. Days later, Amanda took time out from her London tour with the Psychedelic Furs and flew back to Los Angeles to reunite with Information Society.
Feeling a bit apprehensive, but it's been such a long time.
Hey, man.
Jim Cassidy, how are you, sir?
I'm here.
It's good to see you again.
Nice to see you again.
How have you been?
Calm as a cucumber.
You go through that door, and I will see you shortly.
See ya. Okay. The reason I participate in the show, because I love this. I mean, I live for it. I love the stage, and I missed all that, and I love the energy of performing, and I always have. Just very curious to see who's actually going to show up for this thing. I'm worried about this.
Hello, Hello, darling.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you
It's
doing?
so good to see you. So that you're because you did fly in a long way, did you not?
I did.
Where were you last?
I was in London yesterday.
I will leave you with your thoughts as you go inside.
I'm feeling pretty excited at this point to see my other bandmates. Very apprehensive, very curious.
Very odd.
Mr. Cassidy.
Oh my God. Wow. You're all grown up.
The Prado, Minnesota. Paul Rob.
Thank you, thank you. Keep them back.
How are you, man?
Good to see you.
Really good to see you. You look great.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice suit, my friend.
The last time I saw Jim Cassidy, he gave me such a raft of crap for my attire, I thought I'd impress him.
Oh, I think you will.
Yeah, okay.
You go inside and I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, Paul.
I feel great about it. I can't wait to see them. I think it's going to be a great time. It'll be very interesting. I can't tell you how we're going to be. We were always very odd to begin with. It was a very odd combination, so I'm assuming we'll be just as dysfunctional as we ever were.
In the early 80s, right?
Oh, my friends! I want to buy you a drink.
Very nice.
I do really want to. Look at you.
Good to see you.
Kiss on the lips. Give me one of these. Give me one of these. Yeah. And now what?
3 members of Information Society are here, but the eccentric Kurt Harland seems to be running late. We traveled the country, found all 4 members of Information Society, and convinced them to reunite for a one-time only concert. So far, Jim Cassidy, Amanda Kramer, and Paul Robb have shown up. But lead singer Kurt Harland has yet to make an appearance.
I'm here for the job.
Right.
You need a singer?
Yeah, we need a lead singer, babe.
There you go.
I was wondering, although you look very comfortable up here, if we could reconvene sort of in front of stage and sit down and have a proper conversation.
Certainly.
All right, let's come on over. Unfortunately, we do have an empty chair at the end. I don't know how much you know, but let me just update you on the story as far as our perspective is concerned. He said to us that he no longer wanted to be a part of the show. Didn't want to come to the reunion, didn't want to rehearse, and didn't want to ultimately play. We're obviously upset and saddened by it because I can't recall personally this ever happening before, where we've gotten everyone to agree in principle by signing the album, and then someone decides not to show up.
Leave it to Information
He'll like that.
Society.
Yeah,
Leave it to Kurt.
It's fitting, in a way.
It is.
But not surprising, I take it?
No.
Why do you think he's not in that chair right now? Why not at least come and sit down and talk if there's a reluctance to get back up on stage? What do you think?
It's too painful, I think, for him to kind of be teased with the remnants of it.
I would have thought he would have at least come for this part of it, to be honest.
Well, probably if he would have come to this, he would be afraid that we'd con him into the rest of it or something. I don't know. I mean, could we con him into doing it? No.
No, but the situation would be too awkward.
And everybody in this
Everyone's
room
yelling
would
at
be
him,
like
come on,
saying,
Kurt, come on, Kurt, you
which is
gotta
like
do
the
it now.
worst.
Well, you know, he was your typical conflicted front man.
Well, I mean, you know, like, that's an interesting reaction.
He really did not enjoy touring. He was a tortured soul.
No, with Kurt, the thing is because the band became something that he didn't want. I was always the one pushing for pop success.
Right.
Because I just wanted to make money.
I just wanted to play to giant crowds.
Right. We each had our own motivation, but Kurt wanted respect, and he wanted to do his own experimental thing like we did in the beginning.
Right.
He wanted it to be like it was in the beginning, and it couldn't. It became like a business. The rest of us could roll with the punches, and Kurt wasn't willing to roll with it.
Well, why did he stay then? Why didn't he just leave it?
Dysfunctional family.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needed us more.
Yeah.
And I think that it was really difficult for him when the band kind of finally petered out to let that go.
See,
to let the being a star go. And you know, he flogged that horse for a long time after the rest of us stopped. Yeah. It is a shame that he didn't come because it would have been, I think he would have enjoyed it, maybe more than anybody.
I think it would have been great if all four of us had been here. But on the other hand, perhaps we said a lot of things that wouldn't have been said otherwise.
If Kurt had been here, it would have been very different. I probably would have been a little more uncomfortable.
The biggest disappointment, I think, is for, obviously, the fans. We had a lot of people very interested in this show. We announced it soon after that last signature was placed on the record, and people as far as, you know, South America were willing to come in and watch you guys on stage once again. So it
makes it even better that we're not performing.
How do you think it would have sounded, though? It would have been
terrible.
Really?
Well, it depends on how much technology we could rely on.
Yeah, exactly.
When we were ready to do the show, I don't know how it would have been, but I think we could have pulled off something.
Tell me about this picture.
That is my favorite picture.
Yeah, that was a great.
Is it?
That is by
Especially
far.
your boots.
Why is it your favorite picture?
I think because it was the first one, the first like attempt at a promo shot.
Right.
And I just love it for its innocence. It was kind of before record companies,
Right.
before anything. It was just like, you know, four kids trying to be a band.
Right. Well, the first person to leave this incarnation of the dysfunctional family was you.
Yes.
I almost fell off my chair when you told me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was very surprised. Did you know while this was going on with Amanda, going through this experience with heroin, did you have any idea that this was happening?
Well, I think near the end we did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We busted you finally, so.
Yeah.
We went through your bag, so it was a drag.
Is that what it came down to?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I probably was, you know, it was getting messy. You guys remember that we took a plane from Seattle to San Diego?
And you were in the bathroom.
We had some bitch stewardess who wouldn't let me smoke a cigarette on the plane, so I was very adamant and rebellious, so I went in the bathroom and had one, but I also had some heroin on me that I was smoking in the bathroom. When I came out, the stewardess was waiting for me.
Yeah.
But like going, I know you just had a cigarette in there. And when we got off the plane, they
There
had
were
cops at the, but they had all thought that was just for a cigarette. And it was just kind of like things were just, you know, kind of going that way.
We have studiously avoided talking about that issue. I think that she deserves her privacy, and it's, you know, it's her issue, and that's why I didn't really pipe up too much.
Because being a junkie, it's a lifestyle, you know, I mean, it just having to deal with getting it and having it and then not having enough and then being sick for a show and then, you know, needing to get more. It's like you can only have the flu so many times.
Right.
You know, it's just, it wasn't pretty. That's for certain.
I just started noticing that you were kind of becoming two people, you know, kind of the one looking for it and then the one having it.
There we go.
When Amanda started opening up about her addiction, it was uncomfortable because we had never really dealt with the issue.
But, you know, we were too close for you to say, you know what, guys, I want you to out of my life.
Right.
No, I mean,
that would never have happened.
No, it wouldn't have. No, I mean,
you got out a different way.
Yeah.
But how you got out was interesting. I mean, Scott Mino, your manager, checked you into a facility in New York City. Why did you guys not call her or visit her yourself?
Chicken.
Scared. Yeah. That's what a manager's for.
Right.
To do all the stuff you don't want to do.
Right. Chicken.
A few years later, the two of you decided that that was it as well.
Yeah, well, I think the record company is basically going to drop us. The money was drying up. You wanted to get married and procreate, and I wasn't going to do it with Kurt.
And
alone.
we were stranded.
There's no way.
And we were stranded in Brazil.
What do you recall as your fondest memory with Information Society?
When we first started playing shows outside of Minneapolis, I think that was a really great time because it was the first time we ever got validated as somebody other than the usual 200 people.
Amanda?
I'd have to say I'm with Paul. I liked it when I first joined them. It was the early days of the South Bronx and that whole phase. We were kind of doing it on our own.
I loved touring, and I loved, not to get all sentimental, but hanging out with you was a blast. No, really, like when you would come and pound on the door in the morning and make me get up and we'd go have coffee and read the newspaper in foreign cities and try and find the people.
That was great.
I mean, I love that. Yeah.
I'm going to step away. I'll leave the three of you here. You can say your goodbyes to each other.
I feel really quite good that it happened. I'm pleased to have finally had some sort of reunion.
I feel a sense of closure for the band as a media icon. Seeing Amanda again felt more like an opening rather than a closure.
It feels really cool that we were able to close this thing together. It was neat.
Walking away from things that move too fast.